Doesn't say his name. He says an English gentleman.
Well, the most interesting thing about this story is, that the metal sphere story came to my attention because of a gentleman in England had been noticing in a lot of the pictures of claimed UFOs that they were often, you'd have the central object, and then there would be at least 3 or 4 of these metal spheres that would be surrounding it, almost as if they were scouts or guards. And it's fascinating because he could go back 30, 40 years.
My name is Patrick Jackson. I'm an IT specialist, and I've been reverse engineering what's said to be the most violent poltergeists in the world. In 2015, I finally wrote a book that technically identified small silver spheres as a root cause of this global phenomenon. The exact same spheres we are now seeing, haunting our skies. I realized that there is a network that surrounds us, a technology that's truly profound, a role that we all play in it, a disclosure that will blow your mind.
All right. Welcome back to Unsealed, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle. Christopher Manti is always your humble host here. I am truly excited about today and the guest that we have. Mr. Patrick Jackson is the author of a book. I want to say new book. It's been out a couple of months, but it's pretty new, called The Sphere Network. And it has come along in my life at just the right time. Just the right time. If you've been listening to this show, you've known that I've seen one of these things last year driving along on the highway. So I am very, very interested in his ideas about this. And he has more than ideas. He's got experiments and photos and lots of evidence behind it. So I'm very, very excited to welcome Mr. Patrick Jackson to the Unsealed program. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
My pleasure, no problem.
Thank you, man. So, okay. First of all, it's a fairly new book, and you're obviously active on X. People can find you there. And the people have got to read this thing. I really do want to encourage everyone to read it, no matter what your opinions or persuasions or whatever. I really do want to encourage that, because it is a novel approach to what the heck is going on. So how would you summarize this work, and why do you think it's important that people read it?
Well, most UAP books are a case of an event will happen, and the author will go to the location, interview people. He'll interview different people and then get a story together, kind of combine the data, and then try and cut through all the mud and find out what really happened and what went on. And that's generally the way that UAP research has been going on for a long time. But my approach is very different. I am much more of a boots on the ground and get my hands dirty kind of approach. And my original interest was poltergeists. That was my main interest, because I've always been interested in the weird paranormal stuff anyway, and just to see if I could figure it out. Just to back up a step, it's like I grew up in a kind of like a paranormal hotspot, and I basically came face to face with what looked to be like a ghost monk in the middle of a field, and I've never seen anything like it, and never seen anything like it since. And I even shone a laser on it to see if I can get a reaction out of it. It was like I put the laser on the ground, then to the body, then the face, and it reflected, but the laser beam was dimmer, a lot dimmer than it would normally be, which was kind of interesting. And then I got up and walked up to it, and it literally just dissipated in front of my eyes. And that kind of sparked my interest, because then I asked the locals down the local pub and I said, I thought I just saw a monk or something across the field. And he goes, oh yeah, that's the mad monk. He haunts here. And I was like, and I've never heard of that story before, and I haven't seen it since either. It was just literally like a one-off experience. But it's always been bugging me. So, growing up, and I moved to London, and I'm pretty good at IT. I basically work in databases, a lot of development, architecture, reverse engineering, administration, stuff like that. And I kind of come to the conclusions like, well, I'm paid to do quite extensive projects at work, reverse engineering and so forth. Why don't I just try to see if I can figure this out and just have a crack at it? Really, it wasn't my intention to write a book or make a fuss about it or anything like that. I just wanted to see if I could do it. So I actually rented out a place called 30 East Drive, which is home to what's voted the most violent poltergeist in the UK. So I rented the place out for like 4 days, and I can start showing you. I'll show you the presentation. We can start working through it. So this is the book. This is the Sphere Network. So
excellent cover, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the backstory. I work in a database developer. Work in central London, Cambridge, mostly in media and accountancy firms. Core responsibility is spotting database issues before they happen, reverse engineering. One really good example was I was flown over to a country to look at the private bank. Their database kept crashing every day after 9 a.m. And so they were really upset. And it took me like about 2 or 3 hours, but what you notice is patterns. So it kept crashing at the same time. So we couldn't get any error logs out of it because it happened before it actually made any errors. So it was a real strange behavior. And what it actually turned out to be was there was a particular user that was executing a particular query that returned a data set that was so big, it overwhelmed the buffer on the server, which then crashed the server, stopped services, and the whole thing just went down. And it confused the bank for like a good 3 weeks. So we got that working, but that's the kind of thing. What it is it's kind of like spotting patterns and then kind of reverse engineering behaviors, and then coming up with conclusions and then testing it. So that's kind of what I do anyway for a living. So yeah, the last few years, because I wrote a first book. My first book was a book called Quantum Paranormal. That was a much more deep dive into poltergeists and the more paranormal effects of what the spheres do. It was the first book in the world to identify these small silver spheres in buildings, what I call the Type 3s. And this was all taken at 30 East Drive. But now 2022, so the last few years I've been presenting clear examples of UAP series in action. About a year before the UAP hearings, I shared my working model to Senator Gillibrand, which was the diagram I'm going to show you later. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, we were going to have lots of meetings and lots of interesting chats, but all the doors went quiet and everything slammed shut. So that was that. But then, when the hearing did come about, all they were talking about really was spheres, which is kind of interesting. So as of right now, the spheres account for about 52% of all recorded UAP sightings, which is huge. And that's actually one of the key identifiers of what I'm about to explain to you.
Just an aside on that, could it actually be higher than that? Because people see lights all the time, and
yeah,
it's just a light. You don't know what shape it is, or you assume it's a shape of a craft or make some other type, but maybe it's just a sphere, right?
Yeah. You can tell by the formations and the mathematical formations
right.
that are forming.
For example, like if you see a triangle, people are assuming it's a triangle craft, but maybe you're just seeing 3 spheres in a triangle shape.
Right. That's right. Yeah, and we'll get into that later, actually.
Great.
But I think it's around about more like 80%, if not 85%. It's just what people report, and most of the time people don't report stuff. But the reality is that the U.S. government and the governments at a whole are in a real difficult position. It's like they don't like stuff they can't control or tax. So I think that the key is to let civilians work it out, and then the way they kind of look at it is the safest way, which is like the smart observers, the smart people will kind of work it out, while the reactive people and the reactive groups just won't believe it, and it will just be dismissed. So when people finally realize what's happening, it's like tomorrow will just be another day. You go to the store and there'll be food,
right.
And it'll just be another day. I mean, people do react badly when governments say things. It's like when COVID came out and you couldn't get a hot dog anywhere, you couldn't get a toilet tissue anywhere, because people just go on a crazy spending binge and just buy everything. And in today's world where markets are so interconnected, especially when it comes to oil and gas, and the fact that we get our resources from sensitive places in the world, this subject is quite a difficult one to swallow. So going back a few years, Gary Nolan identified that, or publicly stated that I identified these spheres in photographs going back decades. In fact, you can there's many black and white pictures where you can see them. It's just people sort of didn't look at them. They're looking at the main object rather than what's actually in the background. But it's always the same process. It's always the same formations, the same process. And this has been going back absolute decades. In fact, it even goes back to religious times, because there are religious depictions with V formations within them as well. So it's very interesting, and it actually, I think this stuff has been with us pretty much forever. So I'm now the author of a new book called The Sphere Network. It's reviewed to be in the top 5 UAP books in the world, marked 5 stars on Amazon, and the reviews are pretty good. I'll show them. So here we are. So we've got outstanding. The UAP phenomena has been solved. A new framework, real data and research. I must read, new information, and so forth. And this is because of the approach is very different. It's a data-driven approach based on just logic. There's no woo, there's no magic, or there's nothing of that sort. It's just basically black and white relationships and logic and how it connects.
That's true. I just want to bet I've read the thing, unlike maybe a lot of these interviews who don't actually read the books they talk about. Yeah, that's true. And I'm going to write a review myself saying that, backing that up. It's true.
So yeah, to get to this point, I mean, this has been a kind of like a life journey, I suppose. Is I was always very interested in the paranormal growing up, and so after I saw the ghost monk thing, I got into all the British and the American paranormal shows, and I just wanted to see what they were saying, but none of it made any sense to me. None of it gelled. It didn't. There was no logic to it. There was no real analysis to what they were saying. It's basically go into a building, hear noises, run around, dig up the history of the place, and then leave the next day and not see anything. And then they'll go to another location and do the whole thing again. And that will just go on for series after series. And it's a business model that works. There's some channels out there that just are dedicated to this stuff, and it's $1 billion a year industry. So, I contacted certain channels a few years ago, and they just weren't. Although they looked at what I presented, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're probably right. That's really interesting," but they won't change anything because it disrupts their business model.
Right.
You see, so I just wrote a book instead, and got it out there. And in the end, I got tired of it and their vague explanations and blurry ideas, and I just thought, well, if I can do this stuff at work, let me have a crack at it and see what I can find. So yeah, this is 30 East Drive. It's up north, about 4 hours from where I live. and it's actually voted the most haunted house in the UK. And it's brilliant because it's small, so everything happens in very small, in isolation. So it's very easy to start noticing the patterns and behaviors of what's occurring in there. And what you should notice is that the building structure. So you have the main house here, and then you have the structure here, and that's the important bit right here. So I'll show you the next. So when I went into 30 East Drive, I went in there as not a believer, but more of like analysis, like to just see what I could find, see if I could spot anything, see if I could see something that other people haven't. And within 15 minutes of being in the place, this event happened right here, and it's quite crazy. I'll show you it. And that is not actually a unique thing. That's actually a constant event. So that happens a lot of time, like a few times of the week. And that's what you call like it's basically like a constant action, a specific action that has a specific reason. So when you go down there and have a look, because that's like an internal door, there's nothing in there. It's actually within the house itself. There's nothing that would make those sort of noises. It's just like an empty room with a wall. And that event, that kind of noise, or that event itself, where it bangs, it's a constant. It happens again and again and again, just random. What seems to be randomly. And so we saw it, I saw it, but also other people have seen it and seen it since. So when you see these actions, it's like, well, what do you have? You have a constant action that is out of place, which seems to have a specific reason. It's not just a dead guy banging the door for no reason. It's a deliberate action. So what that tells you, or what I noticed, is that and other actions when I was in the place, is that these aren't human behaviors. They are they're mechanical behaviors. They are the behaviors of machines. It's because it starts up, it switches on, and then it shuts down again. So that can happen now, and then you'll do everything in your mind to provoke it again, and it won't happen. But then 2 days later, when you're not expecting it, it will happen again. And so what you're seeing is a process. It's not interactive. It's just a process being executed. So let me go to the next slide. So this is where it all happens, is right here. So this is what's great about the place. All the paranormal activity happens on this staircase and in the rooms next to it. And if you look, if you get your meters out and you stand about here, you get high energy moving EMF levels. So basically, you put your meter up, and you'll get like a high spike go up, and then it will go down again. And also, when you walk under that area, you feel dizzy. So it's like something weird is affecting you as you walk underneath it. So it's like it seems to be some sort of high energy source that's there when you come and go. And that was strange when I saw that, because I didn't actually know what it was at the time. But this is common. People are detecting this in the same spot all the time, every night, literally. Now, if you go in there and turn all the electric off, it's still there. If you go 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not there. But it start as the evening draws on, it starts to fire up. You start seeing all these electrical signals everywhere. So it goes to the next.
You said EMF, electromagnetic frequency.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is another example. So this is what we're seeing in the building. So this was taken on that set of stairs. This is a full spectrum camera. And what you're seeing is a vertical black mass that moves in a very digital way without resistance or weight. And it moves in a very set speed, like it moves like this. So it doesn't speed up or slow down. It's very, very specific digitally. And this is what people see all the time. It comes down the stairs, up the stairs, it whizzes by. So this is one of the weird anomalies you see in the building. Go to the next one.
And this is the type of thing people see it all over the world.
Yeah, they're what we call black masses, and they're commonly seen in attics and basements. Now this is the same place again. This is actually just around the corner. This is in the hallway, and you can again. This has been filtered so you can see it a bit clearer. But you see like a black line, a black mass, which is here. This is the long black mass, and then right here, where the arrow is, you see something circular. Right there.
Right.
Right. So you keep that in mind, and if you look at this one. And this is another example. So this is when I had my eureka moment, because I was studying all the videos and images for about 6 months, and I couldn't quite make the connection to see what was going on. Nothing would make sense. And then I saw this. And what this turned out to be was a small silver sphere about the size of a baseball hovering off the ground inside the building. So this kind of makes sense. Once I saw this, it was all like a eureka moment, because you're dealing with a drone. It's basically a small drone. And you have to ask yourself, okay, this starts to make sense now. So let me show you some more. Here's more pictures of it. So as you can see, it flew in from the lounge towards the door, and you can see this trail behind it. It then stopped dead, and it then moved to the left, and then came back again and had a look.
Is this near that door that we heard the banging on?
Yeah. This here are the same objects from 1903. So people are seeing these balls, silver spheres. Sometimes they're glowing, look like orbs, and they fly through solid objects such as walls and doors and so forth. The actual terminology is called quantum tunneling. The same thing was seen during World War II by the RAF and US Air Force, where these spheres were called Foo Fighters back then. They would surround the craft, and some would enter the craft and fly around inside. And the US and the British thought they were Nazi weapons, and the Nazis thought that they were Allied weapons.
Right.
But it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
And so these are the small guys, the baseball ones.
Yeah, the small ones.
Is this what is? I don't want to spoil something that you're going to say later, but is this an explanation for ball lightning?
Yes, yeah. It's because what they do, they have a field-based propulsion system that is high energy. So what it does, it energizes the gas molecules in the surrounding air around the surface of the shell. As a result, it glows. It's the same mechanism as natural lightning uses to create light during electric storms.
So we gave it that name because it kind of looks like lightning and it's shaped like a ball, and so that's
right.
We called it.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
right.
But to this day, you'll get, well, it's really anomalous. We really don't know what it is. We can't really explain it. We don't know where it comes from or where it goes. But you saw ball lightning. Congratulations. But you're saying really it's one of these. Yeah,
and the most obvious signature that it is that ball lightning hangs around for quite a while, while lightning just flashes and goes away.
Yeah,
right. It's because everything in nature operates in a state of flux. Energy levels go, they drop, and then they boil away. Well, what you're seeing with ball lightning, or what they call ball lightning, is a constant ball of light.
Yeah, it hangs out.
Which means because constant energy levels don't really exist in nature, the only thing that can replicate that is through an artificial power source.
Excellent.
So as you can see here, this one here was taken in a field, and it's just hovering just off the ground.
Yeah.
This one here was taken in a British field, just hovering off the ground. This one here was taken in 30 East Drive, just hovering off the ground. And these are the ones, well, that's a small image. These are all the historical ones, what people have seen throughout the time. And so that's what it is. It's the same object.
Sure looks like it, man.
So then you have to ask yourself, so why are these small spheres operating in buildings? What would be the point of that? And why would they perform physical actions? And why are people getting physically affected? Because you probably watched a lot of these ghost shows where people faint and feel sick and nauseous, and they blame evil spirits and so forth. Well, so the truth is, regardless of how advanced the drone is, they use the three main functions to operate. And one, it needs to send and receive signals. Two, it needs a network. and 3, it needs AI. So AI is the key to repetitive actions, as the door banging itself. So as I say, it's performing a process. Something happens, it performs a process, and then it shuts down again. So this is why poltergeist activity has kind of been noticed. So they all have the same behavior patterns around the world. They bang doors, throwing objects, strange electrical effects, catching fire on things, and that's because it's the same AI. It's the same AI logic. The same rules have been applied to all of them around the world. It's the same library of effects been applied to all of them around the world. So the question is, if these are drones operating in buildings, has anyone picked up the signals from them? And the answer is yes. So right here. So I managed to grab a digital sample of these signals that have been transmitted, and it appears to be an 18-bit code. And you see here, this here is the synchronization packet right here, or the synchronization bit, and this one here is the synchronization bit, and then this part here is the actual data packet. And this is also recorded on tape as well. So if I grab those links, I can show you it.
Okay, there we go.
Now this has been slowed down a bit so you can hear it, but you can definitely hear them. I'm pretty want to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, there's a pattern.
Mm-hmm. In the other video, it's much clearer. It's like on normal speed. You can really hear that, like.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. Let me try the other one again.
Yeah, if you just run that at normal speed, you're. Here we go. That's better. Yeah. See.
It's like music.
Come on, bang the door. Bang the door. Come on.
There you go. Stops.
Wow. Wow. So moving people away with these various types of distractions, as you're saying, because it would disrupt the signal, or because it would harm the people?
Well, I can show you that in a second.
Right.
So we'll go through that. So this is the next slide. So what you really have, you have these small drones that are operating in buildings. And what they appear to be doing, they're like transponders. They basically sit in the building or fly around the building, and no one's really aware they're there. But they act like transponders. So most of the time they're shut down. But when they come online, they start sending and receiving signals. And when those signals are being transmitted, that's when you have gamma radiation and microwave radiation. So like all drones, as I said, they need a network. So I went looking for a network. So what I did was and in my new book, I really pin it down to where it's all relaying. But this one is a bit more simple just for this. But what I noticed was that all these haunted locations are basically replicate our own point-to-point microwave-based relay systems. So what it is similar distance apart, and it operates around topology. So it's basically a on-demand near-to-ground based data network. So these spheres will come online when they need to and start relaying data, relaying it across the country, and then it shuts down again.
Literally across the countryside, like near to the Earth itself. Yeah. I just want to interject something real quick, if I can, or kind of not diverge too much. But the point is, we're talking about what has always been understood by humans as poltergeist, like you're saying, or haunting activity, which has always been basically been chalked up to some kind of spirit, right? Because we didn't know how else to put it, basically, right? How else do you explain such things? And in my line of work, I mean, I have been called into homes saying this is happening. I have a haunted situation, right? Or I have something weird has been happening in my house. I need you to come take care of this as a Christian, like an exorcist, basically. Like, you need to come deal with this. So I have, but when I get there, I don't really see anything out of the ordinary. I pray over it. I do what I've been trained to do and what I think I should do, and help the people, try to calm them. But it's what you're saying, and not only saying, this is what I want to drive home to folks who are watching this now, is you're not just saying things, you're showing things. You tested things repeatedly. You've taken different types of measurements. You're showing in different ways. Photos, data, you're listening, you're hearing signals, all these different types of ways to show. You don't just have a theory, you're showing why you believe X, Y, and Z. And that's really important, number one. And number two, what you're doing is you're upsetting the apple cart, okay, of not only the kind of the Christian or religious worldview of these are demonic spirits, but also of the spiritists or what have you, the haunted house. These are just dead people who can't get peace and want to go home to the afterlife, or they were murdered and there's some kind of violent stone memory or whatever, right? You're upsetting all of that. And like you mentioned before or earlier, this is a billion-dollar industry that works. So no one wants to get that upset, number one. But this is a big deal, again, from my point of view, from a Christian point of view. Like, it's possible that not maybe every case, but a lot of times, potentially, now we're talking about what we think is a spiritual or demonic problem isn't. It's actually a technological problem with another set of rules and explanations and who's behind it all.
Correct.
That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. So I just want to say, like, I'm willing to go there with you. Like, I'm willing to be upset because it's true. I'm after the truth. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there, and the people who are with me in this, in my audience, I want to, bring you along and say, listen, this is possible. Let's just call Patrick here and see what he has and see the evidence that he's presenting and see where it goes.
And also, just to mention, 30 East Drive has had priests there throughout the years and never gets rid of it.
Well, honestly, as an from an exorcism or a Christian point of view, if it is a spiritual problem and you have an exorcism, they don't come back. I mean, like, if that's it, it's over. There's not going to be a revisiting or, oh darn, that didn't work 10 times later, right? It shouldn't ever come back. But being that it is, we got to look for another explanation. Anyway, yes, very good point.
And also, just to mention, in the UK, there is 1,800 people who die every day. And yet, from what I can tell, paranormal activity does not increase or decrease.
Right.
The same buildings are active, the same amount, the same locations. It's not like I hear, 10 other buildings have become active this week.
Right. More people are dying than in the past. You would think there'd be more hauntings or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. So, going back to the door banging, you've got to say, okay, well, what's going on there? All right. So, if you look at the measurements, as I said, on the stairway, and you're picking up a high energy source, which is moving around, and what comes and goes, that is right here. This is a map of the building. And right here on the ground floor, at the top base of the stairs, is where you're getting the emissions, this high energy emissions. Right here is where the coal shed door was banging. Okay. Now, if this thing is producing gamma radiation and microwave radiation, what it's doing is moving you to the most safest part of the building, the most shielded part of the building before it can transmit. So what it does, it bangs the coal shed door. Everybody in the building goes running down to see what's going on here, and then it can transmit. And as a result, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 walls to absorb the radiation.
I see. So it's trying to get you to look into that noise to get away from where it actually is.
Yeah, it's clearing the space. It's attracting you to areas, or it either tries to clear you out the space directly, or it'll try and it'll make a noise to attract you to it.
Right. And I've seen some more violent examples too.
Oh yeah,
some videos of being more direct. Yeah.
It's because it's down to. I mean, I was in 30 East Drive the first night as well, and there were marbles ricocheting off the walls, and going by my face like this. And again, it's because of the urgency of the transmission. If it wants to clear the space quickly, then it uses direct actions. If it can, it will give you indirect actions, which is what that is. So it's an AI based, as I say, this is the evidence of artificial intelligence, because it's measuring the distance, location, where you are, and say, go down there, move now. And the thing is, I didn't move. So this was banging and I didn't move. Everybody else was raining down there, and I was the last one to come. And within, I think it was like 2 days later, my brain started swelling in my head. I got like this weird brain swelling going on in my skull, and I couldn't see anything. And what that actually comes down to is effects of gamma radiation.
So you were too close.
Also, I think this is also connected to spontaneous human combustion as well. So if you're standing too close to this, or you don't take notice of the actions, and this thing has to relay, then you're talking high energy gamma radiation or microwave radiation, and basically you just get popped.
That's it. Yeah, folks, you're gonna. He touches on a lot of stuff in this. Okay, the spontaneous human combustion, ball lightning, Hitchhiker Effect. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Oh yeah,
all this weird stuff, man, and it can all be related to these little guys.
So yeah, this is another example. This is taken from a video off YouTube of a group of guys that went into a building and had poltergeist effects going on around them. And look what they spotted on the attic. A small silver sphere. Yeah. That's what that is.
Look at that. And are they choosing? I'm sure I know you talk about it in the book. are they choosing structures basically not abandoned, but with the least possible interference? That's why they're.
So what I can tell, they use anything that can shield the emissions, and also it depends where the network needs to go. So like just like our own cellular network, like sometimes you'll have houses with a cell tower next to them. So it depends on where the network is and where the network has to go. But most of the time, I think that they will use anything from underneath tunnels to caves to holes in the ground. But when it routes through urban areas, they choose buildings. And that's why these hauntings, like 30 East Drive has been active for 40, 50 years. You see, and it's because it's like a hard node. It's locked deep in the network. It can't move. And that's what it is. Yeah.
Got it.
That's what it is. And that's why some hauntings don't go away and some do. It's because some part of the networks are more dynamic. They can move, but other parts are more rigid, depending on where they are. And what I noticed was that depending on the building type, will specify where they're going to transmit from inside the building. So like in modern houses or like 2-story brick houses, they operate generally up on the top floor, either in the attic or the top floor. In America, you have these like single floor wooden houses, and you have a basement. Well, guess what? They operate in the basement. So there was a story. I think it was Zach Bagan. He did a documentary called Demon House, which is exactly that kind of building. And they took I think it was an electrical engineer to have a look at it. And he went into the basement and he said, "Oh yeah, there's a moving high energy source here. I don't know what it is, And I think it was like the next day he was in hospital with multiple organ failure. It's because this thing's relaying signals and it's relaying, these emissions, and it's highly dangerous. Unfortunately, the production company just blamed demons and moved to the next one and do the whole thing again.
Wow.
But the problem is that that guy has probably now got issues for life. And that's the problem that we're now facing. So the interesting thing is that there's a scientist, Jim Segala. He was conducting tests as well, completely separate from me, and he was putting sensors inside these buildings. And this is what he picked up.
He was on the Skinwalker Ranch the first season, correct?
I think so, yeah. Here he is here. So in 30 East Drive, we picked up gamma radiation and microwave bursts. And also we picked up 1.6 gigahertz, 1.72. Exactly the same things are picking up at Skinwalker. And this is exactly what Jim also picked up. I don't know about the gigahertz, but what you're picking up is microwave and gamma ray bursts.
So when they're communicating, is that the bandwidth the band they're using?
It sounds to be some sort of carrier wave of some sort. So when you look at the physical effects of gamma radiation, it's nausea and vomiting, fatigue, tiredness, headaches, dizziness, fainting, skin redness, decreased appetite, weakness or lethargy, cognitive impairment, all of which is what people get inside haunted houses. In fact, the neighbor of 30 East Drive, she gets migraines all the time. And I said to her, do they go when you leave the house and go somewhere else? Oh, yes, they vanish. And then she goes back in the house again and gets migraines just because it's the signals, the microwaves, giving her headaches.
Yeah, that makes too much sense. Yeah.
And yeah, this is what I had when I was in the place. I had brain swelling, I had vision issues, cognitive issues. That lasted for about 6 months. 6 months. It was really bad. My thought process had changed. I'm normally quite a fluid thinker and fast and stuff, but I was actually really brittle, and I was actually really short-tempered and aggressive. And over the years, other people reported the same thing, including fainting, nausea, difficult thinking, and it's all down to radiation exposure.
And this is because you were stubborn and wouldn't run to the
Didn't
door.
move, yeah.
No.
So what it is that these small these type 3 spheres, as I call them, about the size of a baseball. They create a dynamic microwave-based data network that can move to its needs, so it's dynamic. So that's why some buildings will suddenly become active overnight and then stop and never again, while other buildings are active all the time and never sent for decades. So it depends on how rigid the network is in particular areas. So the building itself, how it models out is the building itself absorbs the electronic signatures these things are producing. So from the sky, this network, because it also burst relays as well, it only comes online when it needs to. Anything that's coming into our sky, high up in the sky, when it looks down, it cannot detect the network. Understand it? So it blends in with background radiation. Mm-hmm. So the very stealthy communication network that uses burst relaying and then shuts down again. So what that means is it's a very stealthy AI-based data network, which is all over the UK, all over America, all over the world. And this is also why, like, the mainstream paranormal researchers have got absolutely nowhere in 80 years because they think it's dead people, and it's not. You see, so this is you can kind of imagine the frustration I get from their communities.
Right, you could.
Yeah.
Although, and maybe I'm sure you'll perhaps touch on this. You do mention there is a point where that with the EVP process and stuff that those folks tend to use, you actually did get communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It told you to what was it like? Go away or stay away?
Yeah, go away. Yeah. So what it does is in EVPs, what it really is, the spheres can sample ambient noises or sounds and then reconstruct them to make sentences. So the first sentence might be from a daytime TV show, like "You must leave." But the three, so it blends it all together. But when you actually really look at it, if you record a really good one, and you really look at it, you'll see how it's all blended together. Because it has errors in it. It has errors. It has processing errors. It has pops and clicks and all sorts of things. So this right here, what you're looking at, is the sphere network model that I gave Senator Gillibrand about a year before the UAP hearings in America. As I said in the beginning, we were all going to get meetings and stuff, and then it all went quiet. And then when the event finally happened, they were talking about the spheres, which was kind of interesting to me anyway. And what you have the type 3s, which are about the size of baseballs, right down here. These ones here, these are as I said, the microwave-based communication network, the dynamic relay systems, transponders. They turn on and off, they move around, use AI. Then you have the type 2 spheres, which are much larger, basically the same technology, but made bigger and more powerful, So you have the type 2s. These are the ones that are seen over street levels, above the trees and above the buildings. They were over Iraq. That's what was shown in the UAP hearings in America, and over Iraq, I think, or Afghanistan, one of the two. And then what happens is they take the weak signal from here, and then because that's why they're low to the ground, because they're talking to this network here, because it's a low energy signal. And then what they do is they boost that signal to or that data link to a much higher energy level, which then goes up to the type 1B formations, which are much higher in the sky. And these are the triangles that everyone's seeing in the sky right now. So let me move to the next.
By the way, what you're calling a type 2, these middle lower level, but still in the sky guys, treetop level, basically, right? That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And when I read in your book that I even quoted it here, few hundred feet above the ground, frequently remain stationary in the air at a single location for extended periods before swiftly relocating.
That's right.
That's exactly what it was there. It was above a highway. It was middle of the day. It was silver metallic looking thing, just hanging out about bird height, where birds are flying.
That's right.
Sitting there, middle of a highway, nothing else going on, and then gone.
That's right.
That's all it was. And like, okay, that's it.
So I've sent you 4 examples,
Yep.
videos, and you'll see them in my X. So yeah, over areas of high topology like hills and mountains, because it's a line of sight system, the spheres have to work around it. So in order to keep the signal low, they will operate just above the tree line, and then there'll be one at the top of the hill or the mountain, and then there'll be one down the bottom. So it basically ground hugs and routes the signal over that way.
There it is. And he's gone. Okay. All right. Let's look at number 2.
De junio se presentó este objeto dirigiéndose de la zona del volcán Popocatépetl hacia la zona norte del.
And again, you see it's over a mountainous area, so it's heading over to the top of the mountains. You can actually see the trail or where it's going, how the propulsion system interacts with the atmosphere.
Right.
As well.
Yeah. Look, a little puff or a silhouette or something. Yeah, wow. Yeah. That's so commonly seen now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's like a lensing effect on the atmosphere.
Right. And you get even around it, right?
Yeah, that's the byproduct of the propulsion system.
Mm-hmm.
Is producing atomic light.
Awesome. All right. And let's look at number 3.
Yeah. So this one's chasing an A10.
Yeah.
Or at least having fun with it.
Well, by the way, nothing should be chasing an A10. They call it the tank killer.
Mm. And there's one final link that I will drop in there. Because the spheres also do a thing called daisy chaining. So it's like a networking term. So what it means is you'll have one here and then another one here and another one here. And depending on the distance between the type 2s and the type 3, like because the type 3 is a data network at the bottom, right? So this will only go so far, and then it has to link across the sky or up. And it might go up 5 miles each link, but it needs that link. It'll daisy chain upwards. And this is what you'll see. This is that in progress right here. There it is.
What the fuck?
Excuse us. Yeah, we're all thinking it though. Yo, look at it go. Boing. He's out. Yeah, right. So you got a chain, like you say, to like a multiplier.
That's right, yeah. So if we go to the next slide. So this was actually for a paper I wrote for Stanford University. This is a type 2. This is a picture of one, which is over a treetop. Gives the size of approximately between 30 to 50 centimeters in diameter. Observes a daisy chain around environmental elevations such as hills and mountains. The pattern suggests that they might be using a line of sight microwave-based communication network to coordinate with the other spheres and V formations.
If someone sees these, does that automatically mean the V formation is somewhere around, or not necessarily?
Yes, it does. Yeah. So this one's the type 1 V formations. These are the largest of the group, and right now in that configuration they are in vertical configuration, which means it's like a triangle that's fixed, and it's up on its side like this. And as you can see, it's surrounding this the aircrafts. So what this is, you see, is it's an AI-based system, AI-based defense network, and what it does is it triggers on anomalies in the sky. So things like air shows is a prime example of that, and you'll see these things all the time at air shows because it triggers the AI because it's out of place flight behavior. So that's so in this case, it's basically checking up what these things are, and then it will just go away again. But in that V formation, the target is dead center, So wherever the center of the V is, that's where it's aiming.
Is that why your theory as to the Foo Fighters in the time period that they showed up is because we basically hadn't had an air war before?
Potentially, yeah. It's out of place behavior. So they were looking into what was going on.
Right. Okay.
So this is where it gets a bit more interesting. So this is so the first formation was where the triangle was up on its side. And in this formation, the triangle's flat. And what you have the type 2, which is over here. Then you have the type 1V formation right here. And this was actually taken over Italy, where you have the type 2 right there. And there's one V formation. And then you have another type 2 right here for another V formation. So it works out like for every single type 2 is required for one cluster of 3. So, and in this configuration, what it's doing is tracking an object directly above. And I'll show you the mathematics of how that works in a minute. So this is where it gets really cool. So if you get this, I know people won't really understand this, but if you take a screenshot of it and put it through AI, it'll explain exactly what's going on here. So what this is down here is the type 2s, sorry, the type 3s in the buildings, data network. It then links up to the type 2 here. Then daisy chains to another type 2, wherever the V formation is. Then it goes, the V formation is right here, and then it's looking at the target. Now, what this thing is doing is a thing called trilateration, which is a mathematical process to track objects in 3D space. So by the formation it's producing, you can reverse engineer mathematically what it's doing. So right here, what it's doing is this V formation, if you read up here, it says it's doing a calculation to track this target in a 2D format. So this is doing 2D tracking. And then the one at the rear here is doing distance tracking. And when you combine all this data together, you get 3D tracking in space. So it basically creates a very high resolution targeting system in space.
Very effective one, too.
And because it's using microwaves and its line of sight, it's near undetectable.
What is the role? Explain to me what the role of the one on the ground is to this system then.
So the type 3, that's the one in the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the data network. So this would be linking across the country to to wherever it gets controlled from. So from what I can tell, this is controlled from the ground up, meaning that the control centers for this is based underground.
They detect the targets?
No. That's the data network. So they
communicate.
Yeah. That's like a mesh of relays on the ground.
Like cell towers, like you were saying.
Like cell towers, yeah.
Okay.
So whatever the spheres up in the atmosphere will detect the target, and then it will communicate down to type 3, and then it will figure out how to intercept it.
I see.
It'll then go for its modeling, AI processing, modeling, and all that stuff, just like our own air defense systems.
The brain.
And then it'll come up with like an execution package, which will then surround the target with spheres. And what I can tell, it takes about 45 seconds to execute. So it is very fast. And this is a hypersonic system as well. So these spheres are flying around at, Mach 2, Mach 4, something like that.
Oh, there's a lot of videos about that. I mean, you can just see them. They're crazy, imperceptibly fast.
So if we look at this one here, there's some examples. It's like a replication example. Mm-hmm. This was taken off the UK coast, and you can see here you got the type 1V formation and the type 2 at the back. And when they're glowing up, that means they're in a high energy state, which means they're active. Basically using a lot. They're using their the trilateration to the max to start tracking objects. This one here was taken in June 1971 in Canada. And what you see here is a type 2 right here, and then you have the type 1V formation right here.
Yeah.
And this is before, internet, and this is before fast computers and networking and stuff. So when people say that this is like we reverse engineered this stuff, and it's crap, because to replicate this requires so many layers of technology that we simply cannot do. You're talking energy systems, networking systems, AI systems, all this combined together to create what you're seeing. And we can't even replicate this today. So we can't even replicate the power systems that these things are using, because some of the spheres out there are literally this big. They're this big, and yet their energy system, whatever they're using, seems it certainly isn't petrol. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's certainly it's something very, very exotic.
Right.
Here's other examples that get sent into me. So this was taken over a house. I think it was in Florida. Again, you have the Type 1 V formation right here, Type 2 relay here, microwave link, and the target direction is this way. You always know where the target is from the position of the Type 2 because it's looking directly at it. And the V formation is tracking the 2D. So because this is more vulnerable than this is always kept behind the V formation.
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm going to bring it back to my personal experience because so if this thing was basically over my head, I'm driving in a car, so it's basically over me. So are you saying that there was a target basically directly over my car?
Say upwards, yeah.
Up, yeah, going up.
Yeah, upwards.
Over.
Yeah.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah. In fact, mathematically, you can determine the distance as well, because on the equations, depending on the distance of the Type 1 spheres, the wider they are, the further the target, and the closer they are, the closer the target.
I got you.
So you can
I didn't see any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it works out. So I think it's like 100 meters equals 1 kilometer. So if they're 100 meters apart, then the target is 1 kilometer away.
The triangular guys being
Yeah.
closer or farther. How far apart can the Type 1s and Type 2s be that you've seen?
They can go. I think they can go very, very far. I'm not sure exactly, but it could be maybe a few miles apart.
Okay, great, so cool.
Here again, you see the same formation, Type 1 V formation, the Type 2 at the back, and here you even see the saucer that's chasing.
Now there you go. I mean, that's the stuff. Where is that from? I forget.
That was I think that was. I can't quite read that.
I think it's Spanish, isn't it? Somewhere.
And then this one here below, was taken by a friend of mine. He took it off a cruise ship, and it was just above the ocean.
Now what? Now I was on a cruise ship a couple months ago. Why didn't I get that shot? Anyway,
But
yeah,
as you can see, it's exactly the same formation, exactly the same triangle at the front and the back. So this is another one. This is over Barcelona in Spain. So again, you've got the Type 2s here relaying across here and then up to the Type 1 V formation, which then means the target is up here, 1 o'clock. Then this is more examples. This is all in my book. I've got really good examples in the book. This is like a screenshot. So this one here, this is all the same formations. This is all different parts of the world, all over the world, different times. And again, you see the same Type 1 V formation and the Type 2 at the rear.
This is what I'm trying to relate to folks. This is the same pattern over and over and over and over and over and over. This buttresses the point. And when someone's trying to present a point of view, this is what gives it gravity and should make us think more than just, well, that sounds good, or I agree with that, or I don't agree with that. Well, that's fine, but show me the money, right? Like this is it over and over again, plain as day, over many locations, over many years, right? This is what we should demand to say, okay, this is valid.
And these patterns are the key to disclosure. Once people figure this out, this is disclosure.
Well, it's the most obvious kind. I mean, the most obvious to get. It's just there.
And so, as I said, these things are doing 3D tracking in space. So what are they doing? They're doing this. So this was filmed in my back garden, and you see the movement up here. See all these movement up here and here.
Yeah.
And you see what these flashes deeper. Then this is real high up in space. It's not a plane or anything. This is, you can barely see it on your night scope. And what that is explosions in space. Each explosion is a target being destroyed.
Somebody's active up there. Now, let's watch it again. Each of these little flashes, you're saying?
It's an explosion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can see like
and they're all in different places, basically.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of targets up there.
A bunch of them, yeah.
Wow.
Now, if you put it on freeze frame, if you go back for a sec, and I'll show you something interesting.
Okay, freeze it.
Freeze it, here. Now, people look at this right here and they just see stars, right? But what I see, because I look at data and patterns, and what I see is V formations everywhere. Like here, you got one here, you got one here, and you got one here, you got one here. Again, what you have is concise triangles of equal distance apart, of equal brightness. And when I see that, that matches the type 1 V formations, just bigger versions of them. And what we've done is we've misidentified these patterns as stars.
If you didn't know any better, right? You're just looking up, you're seeing lights. Yep. Wow. That's right there.
And I'll show you this video. So when you look closely here.
Planet over there.
So first you see the spheres come flying in. See them?
Orbiting that planet over there.
Little dots.
See it?
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what's going on here. That's weird. A 10-inch light bridge made by Mead. I'm going to be filming that planet just right there. Okay. Now check this out. I've never seen this before, and I'm actually surprised my phone's doing this. But check this out.
Now if you freeze it.
Oh my God.
That.
It blew up. What the?
You see the triangle.
Yeah.
And that's in horizontal configuration, which means the target is below or above. Which is exactly what
dots to the left and then the one to the right.
That's correct.
Yep. Look at that. That's a heck of an explosion, man.
And that's what you're seeing. That's what those flashes are.
Right. Right. From your video, the flash
video
is actually this.
That's this.
Hell. Something just blew the hell up. Something was orbiting, and now it blew up, and it's in outer space, and it's no longer there.
Do we know where exactly this was, or like how distant this was?
No idea. I assume it's up in atmosphere.
He said it was a planet, but I have a feeling it's a lot closer. That's awesome. That's amazing.
So this is happening. These explosions are happening, I would say, most nights in the sky, and people just don't notice them. And that's the truth. So we basically have a defense network which is AI based, which is intercepting external groups pretty much non-stop externally. Yeah. So what I've done was I thought I'd push my chances a little bit, and I came up with my own dog whistle. As other groups have, like Skywatcher and so forth, but they keep it all proprietary to themselves. So I just thought I'd release one to the public so they can see what's going on.
All right, let's see.
So, yeah, I have sent you the link. So this was tested by a third party, so it wasn't me. And
yeah, that's not a plane. And it's flashing on my phone.
There's another one there, look.
Where?
It's right there. That other one went up, didn't it? That one's going there now.
That's moving now.
Dude, yeah, I told you
Thank
that
you very
one
much.
was
They're not
stopping.
Another one,
stars.
look.
Thank you.
Another one.
Loads of them.
Watch, see if they make a triangle formation.
Yeah. Look. 1, 2, 1 over here over the house. That's...
See, that one's moving and then it stops and then it moves again. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 that move.
Another one. To the left.
Where?
Oh yeah,
Just
straight
to the
up.
left in between them two big ones.
Oh
Straight
my
up.
God, where did that come from?
They're all fucking moving. That wasn't doing that until I put that on. Am I right?
Yeah.
I've one over. Is that one moving over there?
Dude, it stopped until the other one passed it.
Look.
So we think they're stars, and they're not.
No. This guy's furious. This is big fucking
Look that!
That
Oh
one's
my god,
moving
that
as
one
well.
just
Look,
went
another
bump
one straight
up.
up. Look,
Please
an
tell me you
orange one.
recorded
Look,
that.
straight up. Straight up.
Needless to
straight up high.
say,
There's an
stars
orange one
don't do
moving.
that stuff.
No, and people think they were stars, and they're not.
Fuck, man.
That's crazy.
And if you look at the brightness of them, you'll notice that the brightness will all match. So you've got 3 or 4 objects with the same brightness, the same size. It's just 2 of them aren't moving, and the third one is.
Right. Wow.
So that's it. That's the end of my presentation.
How are you drawing, or what is the whistle?
So I figured out this code about 5 years ago. Is actually I used it in the buildings first to trigger the type 3 in the buildings. But what I noticed was that the type 3s were also being seen in fields making crop circles. And in one of the crop circles was a binary code. And I was actually decoded by a British mathematician. And what I did was I just copied the code, and it's a computer language. And then I put my own commands into it, and then put into a binary code. And then I put it on an app, and then I put it into a 30 East Drive to test it. And suddenly the whole place goes crazy. And all the EMFs were going off, and everything responsive, and it became interactive straight away. And then people started testing it in the sky, just against, out in the open, and they said they started seeing stars moving. So I thought, okay, well, let me improve it, update it a bit, because that app was a few years old. So I updated it, gave it a new GUI, made it a little bit better. And it was released this week, and already people are emailing me saying, yes, it's working. We're seeing crazy stuff. So we'll see. I mean, see what happens.
That's pretty amazing, man. So a couple of things I just wanted to, my notes here, just wanted to bring up because it struck me while reading it. There's a link. What is the link between, because you kind of mentioned it in passing, but I showed it to my friend. We're like, what? AI and 666.
Yeah. So in the buildings, some like in 30 East Drive and other haunted areas, things will start showing the number 666 on temperature meters, on cameras. Sometimes, weird glitches, stuff like that. And what it comes down to is, from what I can tell, is 666 is a triangular number, and it's used in AI. So it's kind of like saying the system is armed.
Okay.
Like
and it just so happens to be the formation of your type 1.
That's right.
Also,
yeah,
system is armed. That makes sense to me.
It kind of like makes it, in my mind, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like a visual notification that the system is armed. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
And over the years, people have thought this is like evil spirits and so forth.
Well, if you go in with that impression and then you see 666 on your air conditioner or whatever, you might think, well, I guess I was right. But that is something to think about. It's like you have a picture of it. It's like a giant number grid, basically in a triangle shape. And apparently, that's a method to, like, what do you call fuzzy numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, fuzzy logic or something is, I can't remember from my head.
That's above my head for sure. Math was not my subject. Hitchhiker Effect. So is that basically the small orbs or spheres going on you?
Yeah. So what I noticed when I was doing the test at 30 East Drive, there was a few guys I heard about who stole stones off the driveway, and they took them home and as like a souvenir, and their home become active really bad, and it was so bad that they actually sent it back in the post with a letter of apology. Would you believe? I couldn't even believe it until I actually saw it. I was like, oh my god. But what it is, I mean, from what I can tell, how this works is that these spheres are cause contamination of some sort of radiological contamination. So imagine like a new type of radiation that we're not aware of or we can't detect. And what it does, it contaminates the ground and the buildings. It contaminates items in the buildings, including beds, anything within the vicinity of these objects. So whenever these contaminated objects get moved to a new location, the spheres will detect that and then go in there and say, right, keep away from it. And they'll cause poltergeist-like effects around it until people get rid of it. And this has happened in history. Like there was a family, it's actually mentioned in my first book, that bought a bed for like a bunk bed, secondhand bunk bed, and they put it in their bedroom for the children. And the children started screaming and saying they're hearing voices and weird things were going on in their room and so forth. And so the parents stayed in the room, and yeah, they saw exactly the same thing. It really freaked the family out. So they got rid of the bed and burnt it. And guess what? It all stopped. And it's because the bed is contaminated. And the voices
or haunted, right? Basically, yeah, contaminated. Okay, so it basically you're just saying this is your theory would say it's because it's a machine reaction. That's my job is to protect you from that stuff, or make a clear path with that. Get away from that.
Yeah, and in fact, I think in history, I think like occult groups have noticed this pattern before, because what they do is they used to put curses on people and stuff like that back in the old days. And what they would do is take objects from haunted buildings and put them under your house or in the walls and stuff like that. And then suddenly their house becomes active and, with evil spirits and so forth. It's just a sphere trying to tell you to get away. That's what it was.
Right. So they utilize, again, they were under the wrong impression, but it's the same effect.
It's the same effect.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. So what you kind of touch on right at the end of the book is the explanation behind. Okay. So we've got the tech. What do you call the small spheres, or the holy grail of technology? Who's doing it and why?
Who is a good question. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that it appears to be ground based. So whoever owns the spheres lives underground, because all the architecture must be underground, or inside mountains. It must be hidden in plain sight like that. In fact, I think Skinwalker is one of those locations, because when they dig down 500 meters or 500 feet, they're finding what appears to be artificial structures or materials, which would be maybe part of an underground facility. So people think that this sphere network is like an ancient system that has been just hanging around, but it's not. It's fully up to date and it's fully adaptive. And it has to be, because to deal with new threats. So what I also noticed, what's also in the book itself, is the TicTac and how that plays a part in all of this as well. So what it appears to be is, because the spheres and the TicTac are actually seen flying together in formation, and so what they appear to be doing is the type ones, or when you have an object that gets close to the ground, gets close to Earth, that means that object is more advanced than the others, because the low-tech ones get taken out from a distance, but the more advanced ones and more stealthy ones get closer. They can get through the network down to near the ground level. When they hit the ground level or low to ground, the spheres will swarm them and disable them, and they land in the ocean. And that's when the TicTac comes along, and it will take it out of the ocean. It will literally pick it up and take it out of the ocean and fly it away. And it's using a thing called quantum. Quantum locking, right? Which means it's like it's a quantum effect that it uses a high energy field that with a superconductor, and it locks onto the craft itself, and it'll just pick it up and fly it out
like a magnet, basically.
Yeah, and there's a picture in the book of it carrying a flying saucer on its base as well. And so that one will go off for analysis to see how it penetrated the network. And then once they figure out how that works, they tighten up the logic, they tighten up the AI.
Now, obviously, that comports 100% with the famous TicTac story and video that we have from the U.S. military.
That's right, yeah. Because they said it was over the water or something under the water.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the part a lot of people either don't know or don't bother to say, which is that it was hovering over, the water was stirred up and whatnot, and there was something under the water, and the sonar confirms that. And it was doing something with another object. And you're saying it was basically trying to gather it up. Its buddies knocked it down and it was trying to extract it and take it away.
That's right.
Again, makes sense. That makes sense. Did you have this thought formed before these videos came out or after?
No, I spotted this a few years ago. It's just that I've been gathering a bit more data before I published it.
Because it would be really something if like before I guess that came out in 2017.
Yeah, it must have been around 2017, as a few years ago.
But still, point is, like, it's not Lockheed Martin.
No.
Yeah, so we agree on that 100%.
Yeah, no. Okay. Oh gosh,
great. I don't get that either. So, but to your point, the TicTac is not an ancient thing either. This is one of these like an upgrade or a new device to deal with more current things.
That's right, and that's why like that case where something landed in the back of someone's yard in Vegas.
Yes, of course.
And they said they saw these big guys walking around, and you can actually see the imprint of the object that landed.
Yes,
the particular imprint. Well, it disappeared. So it didn't. If it crashed, it's not going to fly off again. Right. So something came down, picked it up, and extracted it.
Did something with it. Yeah. Right. What about the beings? What did they deal with them too?
I assume so. I mean, that's a whole can of worms. I don't know too much about that.
Put them in jail?
All I have no idea. All I can say is that we have a very tight defense network that surrounds the Earth, and it seems to be in a lot of use. In fact, the problem is that we're part of the problem, because we are producing high energy signals that are going into space. All our radio, television, signaling, everything.
Basically.
Yeah. So we are broadcasting our location to trillions and trillions of solar systems. And logically, if you think about it, long-term survival of the human race probably isn't that high. Because we are all it takes is for one group out there to say, oh, we want something you have, and they'll come and get it. And I think right now, I mean, according to what they say, our signaling and our emissions have reached about 100 light years. And if already we are seeing a lot of incoming traffic, like my video showed, with like 20 odd explosions going off in the sky, we have attracted a lot of attention.
And you do kind of hypothesize, you have a photo of what you would call an ultra-terrestrial, someone who you're saying shares the planet with us, and they're underground somewhere or another, hiding out, and they maybe predate us, or maybe you are even more involved with.
Well, when you model it out, it kind of makes sense. So if you have a ultra high intelligence that lives here on Earth somewhere, or a group of them that live here underground. Underground is a great place to be, because you can probably build an environment just as nice as the surface of the Earth, but underground. But also you can control the access points, so it's a very good defense mechanism. Then you have the sphere network up in the sky and maybe up in space. So you have that's the first two layers of defense. You have the sphere network, and then you have the sphere network that's in the atmosphere. But then you have us. So we are the third line of defense. We are the upgraded primates that are very good at violence.
Just in case the planet's invaded.
Just in case something happens. Yeah.
Right. Is it possible, I know you don't touch on this at all, but just your thoughts, is it possible that this other civilization is also under the oceans and maybe even the moon?
Most likely.
They're actually there, not just using it, but they're actually there.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. They work crazy together. Okay. One last thing. You mentioned the energy when the spheres are going into action. Basically, that's when they're lit up, like right.
That's right.
On, they get colorful, or at least some kind of light. But there's different kinds of lights. People see different colors.
That's right.
And you do kind of get into that. Basically, it's like you get into it. It's almost like lightning. Based on the gas or the what it's electrifying, it becomes a different color.
Yeah, it's basically the different frequencies of the field, and also the gas that is passing through at the time.
Do they choose what color to be?
I was saying, well, generally no. I mean, it depends on the environmental factors, but I have seen them glow red and blue and green. So it's almost like a traffic light system of some sort. So they must be able to pick and choose the colors that they want to use. But they're all atomic colors. That's what I mean. They're colors produced by energizing the gas molecules in our atmosphere that produce particular colors.
Right, so they don't have the choice of any color they want. They're these specific ones.
Atomic light, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, I'm sure that like the Calm Kelleher, if you see a blue one, run like hell. Accusation.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah. Probably the safest point is when they're not glowing at all, like daytime, when they're just like in low power state, just cruising over the roads.
So basically, any color is probably not safe to be around.
Probably not, no, because they're in a high energy state, which means they're broadcasting and receiving high energy signals.
I understand. Okay, so like I have an acquaintance, a friend in Colorado, down the street, not in her house, but it was down the road. One night she saw one, and she just described it as an orb because it was lit up and it was a single thing and about like the size we're talking about and whatever, and just thought it was really beautiful and just kind of hung out for a while, and then it was gone, and that was that. And it was yellow or gold, type of color. Yeah. So she was asking me, what, and on to bring that up. But you're just saying basically it was awake and at work. That would be your answer.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, the paranormal community kind of have an emotional explanation, which is like the different colors mean different feelings or different things like that, and that's just garbage. It's atomic light, which is produced by high energy emissions from the sphere itself.
So, I mean, like we're saying, it's possible that they could be at a different state of communicating, or they're at an energy of something or other. But it basically just means they're on, they're active, they're doing something, they're transmitting something, they're working.
Yeah.
Don't get too close.
I've also seen them cloak as well, so they can cloak, which means that they can bend light around them, so they're not visible. Yes. But what it appears to be is that depending on what mode or state they're operating in, has an effect on their abilities. So they might be cloaked, but they might not be able to broadcast signals. You know what I mean? So it's right. When they're in one mode, it might prevent other capabilities, and then when they're glowing and bright, it probably means that they can do whatever they want.
Right, they're fully active or whatever. Okay. Wow. I think that's all of the things that I had. I love it, man. I think it's really important. I know you're if you don't sell yourself, no one else is going to do it, right? So like I understand that. I totally get it. Brandon Fugel and like all these our government. I wish my government would listen to what you have to say. Maybe they have already. Maybe they already processed it and have gone beyond it and doing something about. Who knows? Probably.
One thing I will say though is that all these hearings, U.S. hearings that they're doing, is a waste of time. Getting information out of the government is a waste of time, and it's actually to do with the way that security works on the computers. So, like when they say they're going to open up a new project or new investigation, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All it really means is that they've got a new folder on a network drive, shared drive of some sort. And then on that folder, you'll have a data owner, and then you have an access control list of people who can access that folder and what permissions they have within it. But the problem is in private industry, the data owners might only be 1 or 2 people. So if I had a folder that you wanted access to, I just have to email 2 people, and they say, yeah, go for it, and I'll give you access. But when it comes to government, that list is 300 or 400 people.
Yeah.
And the way government systems work is they're very badly maintained. As Doge recently discovered, that none of them talk to each other. The databases are in a real bad state. It's surprising even blooming works, to be honest.
Yeah.
So when you have an administrator who says, okay, you want these people or the public want access to this file, let me look at the owner list. I'll email them all and wait for their responses. But half of them might be dead. And the system hasn't been updated, you see. So the administrator might only get a 10% response from the list that they send out, and that isn't enough to open the file. So the older the project becomes, or the work becomes in that file, the harder it is to get out. And that's why all these hearings are a waste of time, because they can't get the information out. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I'm beginning to agree with you. One final thing that people might want to know. So, okay, you're Patrick Jackson. There's this other group of people or civilization that's sharing our world, and they have this awesome tech, and they're using it to shoot down UFOs and natural stuff, right? If there's a meteorite or a comet or something that's coming for us, they'll use it for that too.
That's right.
Right. So it makes sense. So would you put it as they're defending the planet basically selfishly for themselves, or are they protecting us?
It's more like they protect themselves and we're in the middle. Because we play a role, as I said, we play a role in the defense network. We are the third line of defense. We are the evolved primates that are good at killing things. I mean, if you look at us as a whole, like a global population, what's the most common skill set that we all share, regardless of skill of our intelligence levels, right? We're all good at killing stuff.
Of course, Cain and Abel, brother. Right? It's all. Nothing ever changes.
That's it.
So
that's kind of like bred in us. That's what we're for. And so we are the third line of defense, and that's in a way the masters don't talk to the guards, which is why I think you've got this wall of silence coming from government as well.
Right. So you would imagine this other group is probably smaller, both physically and in number, and kind of need help. If something were to happen, they would need.
Yeah, they're pretty much smaller, much more skinnier, smaller, but just smarter.
Yeah.
You know?
And then because you just said it, I wasn't going to ask, but since you just said it, how exactly are they influencing government or what you said, banks to financial institutions? How would that be happening?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they had some sort of input to religious and the banking finance world.
Oh, right, religious, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, they'd have to have people in the actual like staff, probably high up members of staff, if not managers or bosses or so forth. And they probably look just like us, just with much higher intelligence, and that's how they're put in those positions.
Like they actually look, or they're wearing a suit, or they're
No, I think they probably just look like us. Some of them anyway, not all of them, but
okay. All right.
I would say that the ones that it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I can't prove it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had a grip on religion and the financial inner workings of the financial system.
Let's leave it there. Patrick Jackson, man, it's been a completely fascinating conversation. I look forward to speaking with you again and to telling folks about your book. I'm going to leave that review on Amazon. I think it's completely worth everyone's time to read and absorb it. And it's a right now topic. It really is. It really is. It's really important. So thank you, man. And anytime, just give me a call. All right.
No worries. It's been great. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
Right. And we'll leave your contact info in the description. All right. Bye.